Hello and welcome once again to the weekly sustainability talk. We call that the Green Life. Thank you so much for your attention, for your time. And this conversation here today, I'm pretty much sure will help you to understand how to take action on the most important topic of the decade. And as usual, I have with me here a great panel of experts. I have Carlos Diaz, the Chief Sustainability Officer of SAP, and the change agents, Adriana and Stamatia, who are also part of the Sustainability Office. My name is Pedro Pereira, and it's a great pleasure to have you today. And without further ado, we have a very interesting conversation today that will cover three topics that's going to enrich you big time. The number one, we're going to have a round around the Sustainable Development Goals. We'll have a conversation about that will enrich our understanding about this topic. And afterwards, we will understand how technology, we call that Sustaintech, can help you take action on some of those goals. And finally, Carlos Diaz will deep dive in some of the most important topics, which is energy. Without further ado, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you very much,
Good
Pedro.
morning.
Thank you.
Just a little note, I'm the Chief Sustainability Officer for EMEA South because we do have a Global Chief Sustainability Officer. That's how important is sustainability for us. But
Well, the sustainability officer of EMEA South is in the house, and we are happy you are here, Carlos. Thank you so much
thank you.
for giving your time for us today. So, what you've been up to, guys? What did you learn over the last week? What is important in your agenda when it comes to sustainability?
I think we have a beautiful, let's say, agenda plan for today. And I think there's no better way to do this three-step process in which we understand first the overall approach to SDG, Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations. Then we will dig a little bit deeper on that. But why doesn't Stamatia kick this off?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Carlos. So in 2015, the United Nations set up 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which called them SDGs. And they actually substitute the 8 Millennium Development Goals, MDGs, that were set in 2000. The goals are inspiring governments and stakeholders to take action for the people, planet, and prosperity, the triple bottom line of sustainability. The goals were accepted from 193 countries, and our aim is to achieve them till 2030. There are 17 goals. They might be difficult to remember and complex to remember, but we can divide them into 3 layers. Those that are relevant to the environment, to the society, and to the economy. Those that are relevant to the environment are clean water, climate action, life below water, life on land, affordable and clean energy, and responsible consumption and production. Those that are relevant to the society are no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, equality education, gender equality, sustainable cities and communities, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And we have 3 goals related to the economy: decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, and reducing inequalities. The last goal, the goal 17, it is actually how we will achieve those goals, and it is with partnership for the goals. All the goals are interconnected. For example, we cannot have sufficient food if we do not protect our environment, life below water and life on land. It's good to mention that each goal has 8 to 12 targets. At the moment, we have 169 targets. The targets are identifying the goal, and each target has 1 to 4 indicators. It is how we can measure the progress of the goal. The indicators are being reviewed by the United Nations Statistics Division. The previous meeting was in 2020, and the next one will be in 2025. And they could be changed, they could be deleted, they could be rephrased. At the moment, and from 2019, we have 231 indicators. The United Nations High-Level Political Forum is monitoring the SDGs. At the moment, we have a high-level report that comes from the United Nations General Secretary for all the SDGs. We have the SDG tracker where everyone can see, which actually tracks if the world is progressing toward the goals. Everyone can check the website and see the progress. And according to the 2019 results, we are too far for achieving the goals. The world is too far.
And Stamatia,
yes.
I guess that one of the objectives that we have today is that we are not just a spectator of how those numbers go, but we are an actor, and there's a lot we can do. And what we are going to explore is now when you hand it over to Adriana, is how some actors are progressing on those goals, how SAP is progressing on those goals. Is that your feeling, that people understand that these SDGs is something that we can do amongst all of us?
I feel that people understand, but actually they are not taking so many actions at the moment. But they understand that we should take some actions, that there is a need to take actions.
Very good. Yeah. Because the last report I read is like sustainability is top of mind now for nearly 48%, for nearly 50% of the CEOs. So there's a vibrant community that wants to translate those SDG goals into tangible actions in their corporations. Of course, consumers do understand and they act on it, but also now corporations. Sorry for the interruption.
No worries. The one thing that I want to say and close is that and it is interesting, the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, which is the interface between the global policies and the national efforts, in 2018 opened a call for success stories and good practices. And almost 500 success stories were published from the different governments and different stakeholders. And now from the 2nd December of 2020 to 28th of February of 2021, there is a second open call. So anyone can submit their good practice and success story, and we can find all of the good practices in the respective website.
Excellent. So that is the perfect footnote for you, Adriana, to now help us translate this into actions.
Thank you, Carlos. So the goals, as you have seen, are 17. It may be a little too much. Today, I would concentrate on 7 of them, which are actually highly connected to the Chief Sustainability Officer role in a company. Yeah, so this is a lot about what companies do in the world. Yeah, so the first one is clean water and sanitation, number 6. Second one is affordable and clean energy. Third one is number 11, sustainable cities and communities. Then we have 12, responsible consumption and production. 13, climate action. 14, life below water. And 15, life on land. Since this is, a lot of things are happening. Yeah, there is a lot to say. There are lots of issues to mention, lots of companies and governments that are working on. So I would just name a few issues, main issues that we have on each SDG goal. And what SAP is doing and how SAP is helping its customer to drive sustainability around that target. So first of all, I would start with the clean water and sanitation. Well, you might know that 71% of Earth is covered by water, oceans, rivers, lakes. Nevertheless, it's more than 800 million people all around the world which are still lacking access to safely managed drinking water. We have made a lot of progress, but this is still pretty far away from the target. SAP has been partnering with different companies. One of these is its customer Brighthouse, partnering also with Intel, which have developed together a solution which is concerning bulk water management to help reduce water issues access. So they basically use technology and Google and satellite maps in order to understand the flow of the water and how they can direct that to crops and people. This is mainly around sub-Saharan African countries, of course. Second goal, which is affordable and clean energy. So it seems that almost 1 billion people all over the globe still lack access to modern electricity services. This is 13% of the world population. At SAP, since 2014, we are using 100% renewable energies in all our data centers and all our facilities. And that's not all. As a matter of fact, we are helping lots of customers to work around this target. One of them is Kaiserwetter. They have built a platform, IoT platform, which is called Aristoteles. It's using also machine learning and analytics in order to convince bank institutions and other investors to fund local, affordable, and clean energy, especially in emerging countries. You know, this is an important topic because in emerging countries, maybe it's easier sometimes when they build out infrastructure, it's easier for them to build already a clean and affordable infrastructure. But in more developed and more stable environments, this is a bit harder because it puts a lot of economic pressure on the incumbent generators of energy. So this is a very important topic. But moving now to the next goal, sustainable cities and communities, number 11. Well, it seems that almost 50% of the world population lives in cities. Yeah, so the biggest 20 cities in the world are having basically the world population as big as United States. Yeah, so it's a lot. And actually, you know, the UN Habit has said that urbanization together with climate change is converging, unfortunately, in a dangerous way because people are very exposed to natural disasters. Yeah, and these cities are also hubs, you know, for innovations, for resilience, for sustainability. So they have great opportunities to become a smart city and to handle this in a smart way and protect the people and the environment. SAP is working a lot with its customers around their smart cities and not only. And for example, we have been helping Buenos Aires province with SAP S/4HANA and SAP Cloud Platform to track and monitor the progress of their public projects. And another example, nice example that I like a lot is the city of Heidelberg in Germany, which have implemented a smart management system by using IoT in order to understand the level of the bins of the waste and collect waste in a more efficient way. Yeah. Moving now to the next goal, responsible consumption and production. Well, it seems that we are actually using lots of resources all the time to produce new materials. But why don't we recycle more and reuse those materials? It seems that only 14% of plastic is being collected for recycling. That's really very little. And I'm seeing more and more the supermarkets that whatever I try to buy, it's already packaged. Yeah, we have a lot of packaging, a lot of plastic, and this ends, of course, in our oceans and, of course, also in our stomachs, unfortunately. So we should work a lot on the circular economy, and SAP has really been investing a lot in this topic. We are partnering with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, and we are helping our customer to drive circular economy and move to zero waste. For example, we are highly active on plastic with Plastic Cloud in different parts of the world, but also trying to clean the oceans. And another example, it's how we work with our customers. For example, Coop Group in Switzerland, it's a supermarket, and we are working with them towards zero waste, so they can predict much better their demand for the products on the shelves, so they can waste much less food. That's another great topic. Moving to the next SDG goal, which is climate action. Well, you might be surprised, but it seems that in the last 20 years, more than 91% of the natural disasters were climate related. So this is a huge topic. We can see climate change every day, actually, with floods, with a lot of the sea rise levels, and so on and so forth. And it costs a lot. It costs more than 2,000 billion of dollars every year, and a lot of people are affected by this. More than 4 billion people all over the globe. SAP, again, it's investing a lot in this area, and we have launched the Climate 21 program. We talked a little bit also about it the last time. And we are helping customers here to measure the greenhouse gases from their products, from their suppliers, from their logistics, and also, of course, to reduce it by analytical solutions. We are working on a product which is called SAP Product Carbon Footprint Analytics, which is analyzing the carbon footprint, not only the greenhouse gas emissions from services and products. Very important to measure, but also analyze and then act on it. Next one, I will move now to life below water, fish basically. Well, it seems that the largest garbage dumps in the world are sitting in our oceans, unfortunately. And actually, we cannot see it from the sky. We cannot see it while we are traveling through it, unfortunately. And nevertheless, 8 million tons of garbage is adding every year to this, polluting the oceans. And this plastic also gets into the fish. We were used to say that fish comes into packaging, but now it's a bit the other way around. The packaging is in the fish, actually, and we are also eating this. SAP, as I already mentioned, is working a lot with the Plastic Cloud initiative here. One very important thing that we are currently doing, it's in Ghana currently. We are helping the plastic pickers to have fair trading, to get the right prices for the plastic that they are gathering. So it's very important, to clean also the environment, because there is so much plastic over there that we cannot just reduce what we produce. We also have to clean the environment. Recently, we also joined the World Economic Forum Global Plastic Action Partnership, which is also very important. Moving now to the last one that I will be talking about. I know this has been long for you and full of details, but you can also learn more, because this is very interesting and it's very important for us and for the planet. And the last one, it's life on land. This is about biodiversity. It's about plants. It's about animals. It's very important in order to have a stable ecosystem and a great life balance. One of the examples that I want to bring here is how we helped elephants, rhinos, and people. This is ERP, which is very similar to what our solution, the S4HANA ERP. Basically, they have used SAP HANA database in order to prevent poaching of elephants and rhinos. So they use drone surveillance, GPS collars, and gather all this data in order to track the herds of animals and understand when poachers can hit and they can usually very fast act on this and help the animals in Africa especially. So this is a bit of details about all these goals. If you want to know more about this, you can learn from SAP website. Pedro will share now a link with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Any
much,
questions?
Adriana. And I believe that you really made a tour around the most important goals where Sustaintech or sustainability technology can help you. And I know for a fact that, Carlos, you have a focus right now on supporting few customers on a specific goal. I understand this is goal number 7, affordable and clean energy. And I have a question for you, and I would like you to explore for us a bit of the environment where SAP is trying to help this large number of big organizations in the oil and gas space that are somehow using SAP systems. So SAP has the opportunity to influence them to become even more sustainable. So is SAP making anything to help them to move to a sustainable environment, Carlos?
So thank you, Samati, and thank you, Andrana, for the introduction. So we really understand the overall SDGs and then more depth on some of them. One very critical aspect Pedro is mentioning is the energy that we consume, because that energy can come from renewables or can come from non-renewable sources. In this case, the oil and gas companies, they also want to do their part. If they extract oil, if they extract coal, they want to do it in an efficient way, as efficient as possible. There's a lot of energy to be consumed when you're extracting energy. Did you ever think about it? So we need a lot of energy to extract energy. And where do we need that energy? We need it in the whole chain. Since the moment you are extracting, producing the energy, you are making the inventories, you are making sure that the quality is good enough for consumption. Then you're doing the maintenance of your assets, and finally you are complying with the regulation. These are the steps that these oil and gas companies have to go through to make sure that they have streamlined operations, they have efficient operations. And what I would like to do with you is first understand how they are trying to achieve an intelligent enterprise, and then dig deeper a little bit on those 5 dimensions to see how they can be more sustainable. Look, let me step back for a second. Normally, an oil and gas company has 2 worlds: the corporate world, the back office operations, and then they have the production world. And many times they have an ERP system in the back office operations, and then they have a plethora of systems to control production. And this creates a broken experience in which they cannot react well to the market, and the pricing in the oil and gas industry is highly volatile. They cannot control their inventories, their production, and all the dimensions for their assets, because these 2 worlds are not connected. So some of them are connecting both worlds and are becoming intelligent enterprises that can react to demand, that can react to the necessary efficiency that they now need. Now, let me dig deeper into how they can do it. And let's start with each one of those 5 dimensions. For example, production. They need to be able to understand which is the cost per product. They need to understand what is the footprint, the CO2 footprint per product. And they need to do this because they need to analyze the margin, okay? With this information, we can then respond to which is the demand planning and the supply planning and make them match. This is the production world, okay? Then they go to the inventory world, the inventory world, and they need to be able to understand what is the mass balance, how they can move around those inventories to deliver them at the right place at the right price. This commodities trading and risk management is going to help them improve their margins and ultimately improve their operations. So we went through production, then inventory, then we go to quality. They need to be able to trace every batch of production, and they need to improve their efficiencies. That means they need to go to the detail, or even how corrosion management in their pipes and in their assets is being dealt with. So it's very easy to understand. When you have such a big number of assets as an oil and gas company has, they need to make sure that the asset uptime is as high as possible. They need to minimize production losses. They need to make sure that the energy that they are using to extract energy is as little as possible. And many of our customers are putting together Industry 4.0 solutions to make sure that they can sense all that infrastructure and really be responsive live to what everything is happening to their assets. And that takes us to the fourth dimension, which is the maintenance. How do I maintain all that infrastructure? How do I make sure that I have the right asset performance? How do I make sure that I have the right planning for my refinery operations? This takes us to the regulatory world. All that needs to be compliant with many regulations. Probably not familiar to you, but ISA 95 and a myriad of other regulations that they have to go through. Some oil and gas companies can also have also joined some non-enforced coalitions, so they improve their operations above this, but they need to predict what is going to happen, not only report on what is going to happen. And they need to make sure that they comply with this, not only for climate change purposes, but also for safety purposes. So these 5 dimensions, Pedro, is what many of our oil and gas customers are looking at in how they join these 5 pillars with their back office operations to create an intelligent enterprise and act on the SDG goals on sustainability. Because there's a lot of energy to be wasted or a lot of energy to be saved in getting the energy that we use every day.
Thank you so much, Carlos. And I understand that in those weekly talks about sustainability, we'll go even further in each one of the sustainable development goals. So you will learn a lot about it. Another thing that I have for you is the SAP Cares Masterclass, which you can really deep dive with us and experts around the globe that would join us to give knowledge and action points for every organization. Let's follow this for a second.
We need to make it happen. We have to be pragmatic.
How we take care of the people, how we take care of the prosperity, and how we take care of our planet.
We challenge what is and we inspire what could be.
To a real prosumer-centric model.
We have to get involved. You have to get involved.
Bartering and reusing and recycling is a whole new experience.
It is not just about the scale and the financials and the feasibility.
How can we bring together partners, whether they're in governments, whether they're local institutions?
Delightful madness. Also, we would like to do it in a sustainable way.
Talk is really cheap and action is the new currency.
So we do need many more companies to set more ambitious goals, as Vivek was also talking about.
At the end of the day, if you can mobilize your people, if you can create the right awareness, then you start to make an impact.
Sustainable tech is within reach. You have the abilities and the capabilities to make it work.
We are now in the decade of actions,
such that every single product becomes an asset to the brands.
It's something that requires a process, a vision, and then a cycle to put this in place.
You can't have a circular economy unless you have a connected economy.
It's a whole new way of looking at things.
It's really a shift from setting goals according to what is possible to setting goals instead according to what is really necessary.
And that the new decade of action that starts today.
So we need massive actions now, and companies need to be a lead in the conversation.
Very soon we are going to announce the next SAP Cares Masterclass on sustainable technology. And for now, I really want to thank you all for your time and for sharing your knowledge here in this weekly session. And I want to ask you before you go, what is it that you're going to be exploring over the next week? And what is next for this sustainability talk? Over to you.
Okay, so what we are doing is trying to respond to people that reaches out to us and tell us what is interesting for them for for our next week session. Some of them want to understand better what are all these emission trading schemes, to understand what the European Union is doing about it. How can we translate that to our companies? How can we trade carbon schemes? So that's one possibility, but as we say every week, we're open to your suggestions. What is interesting for you? The important thing is that we take high-level theory and we try to put it in motion, in practice. What can I do in my company to action this?
Absolutely. So if you have a suggestion of topics that you believe would be important for us to cover here, it will be a huge pleasure for us to explore and share more with all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stamatia and
Thank you.
Adriana, do you have any last words for our audience today?
Thank you for the time as well, and we will deep dive, as promised, in more and more industry-specific topics, as well as Carlos has already started today with energy, and really looking forward to it, and looking forward to see your questions and your suggestions about what you are searching, what you are exploring, what are you interested to find, where is your company sitting, maybe even. We want to know also success stories.
Wonderful. Stamatia?
Yeah. Yes, actually, yes, we will talk again and see you next week and every Wednesday.
Wonderful. All right, everybody. So this is once again Sustainability Talks. Every week we are putting together knowledge that will help you take action on the most important subject of our decade in our lives, which is how we help change climate change. Thank you so much. Stay well. Make a change. I see you next week. Thank you so much.
So here's the next generation sneaker that's going to make us market leader.
Wow. Did we hit our weight and spring target?
Absolutely. This shoe blows the competition out of the water.
Great. Sign the wrapper?
We're close. Just finalizing the royalties.
What about the carbon footprint?
It's non-marking, Kathy.
I'm talking climate impact, Kevin.
I know, but who cares?
25 billion pairs a year, globally, have a combined impact like France. And oh, by the way, focus groups tell us that our target market cares.
Kevin, you factored this in, right? How does this shoe compare to the competition? What do we need to optimize to be the low carbon leader?
Well, we can't manage what we don't measure. We'd have to calculate carbon at every step in the value chain, from raw material mining to end of use. It's like cost accounting.
Seriously? Who's going to go to all that trouble?
The future market leader.
SAP Product Carbon Footprint Analytics. Measure what matters.